Hello and welcome, Free Enterprise fans, to another exciting Highway to the Zemus Zone 6 matchup tonight between Rhybon and ScratchDragon. I am Dakar Smash, and I am joined on the comms by Judge Joe. How you doing tonight, Joe?
I'm doing good. Excited to be here, excited to watch this. Less excited to see a Cecil, but that's me and Cecil. This should be a fun one.
It should be. And Cecil, he's a really strong character, but he can make for some interesting changing rooms at least, so we can hope for that.
Oh, there's some real fun stuff you can do with the changing room. If you got a dwarf axe, if possible, consider fading ordeals. Give it a little bit, maybe get to level mid 20s, 30. Voila, you might even have anchoring for the Fey March.
Well, there you go, another brilliant Famer strategy from our resident expert.
Uh, Looking at these objectives, it could be fast, could be slow. Largely depends on the darkness, because that's half go mode then and there.
Yeah, the number of moon objectives here does definitely jump out, and especially if it also turns out to be a hook seed, you could have four objectives that are just gated by the moon and by underground access.
Random package, cannon room, and poof, instant go mode. But both these runners will should be able to handle a jet seed. It'll be real fun to see what happens when grind options become limited if you have, say, a tough Feymarch gating the required darkness.
Absolutely. And I guess to give it a little more context on this match, these two runners are so far both 1-0 in the D Machine group. It looks like in the first week, Rhybon beat Wreck-It 89, and ScratchDragon edged out Matic.
Which that one was a real close match. So let's see if ScratchDragon can make it just as close here.
Yeah, I mean, ScratchDragon, Matic, I think one of our most promising pink buffs from the most recent pink buff league, and of course Rhybon is sort of the original mega pink buff. So, well, maybe ScratchDragon's on a little anti pink buff quest as one of our grizzled veterans.
The runner should be getting off shortly. Any partner predictions? Uh, Looking at this, I'm used to getting a lot of Edward DKCs. Could be neat. Kane is always strong. I like Kane.
I guess we'll find out. I'm a big fan of the DKC Yang starts.
Mm.
Huh.
Oh,
Power
power
couple,
couple and Sword of Legend.
and we
I
have a
don't want
mom
to go
bomb.
to Baron Castle.
Yeah, that mom bomb could be a bit slow. So with this kind of a starting party, does that influence how you would choose to route the early game looting?
So I've been doing a lot of maybe unstandard routing. I've been doing a lot of Dempsey and a lot of Baron Castle. Really want a black sword. Outside of a strong bow and a heroine robe, that's gonna be your best bet. However, with that Rosa, the heroine robe is such a power tool that going with a more standard choice of Eblin or uh watery pass like Rhybon is doing can increase your odds of getting that big payout.
Yeah,
But I already see an Ogre Axe, which, with how a lot of these seeds have been going, could be a very important find if Rybon doesn't any of Baron Castle.
we see
And
a bard, yep, on ScratchDragon's side. That can be some useful early game intel because it can inform whether you, for example, decide to route the Baron in before ordeals.
so far, neither runner. There's been decent gear here, decent gear there, but there's not. The Archer Bow is like the best piece of gear for the team offensively, and that's not saying much.
Yeah, nothing too exciting for this party, but a lot of it depends on who's at Hobbs.
Have we seen our starting gear? Because if we have a black sword power staff, it's not ideal, but power staff can get away with a lot.
Yeah, I haven't seen either runner check it, which is interesting because these are two starting characters, especially Cecil, where often you see people check it right away.
Extra ogre axe there. Yep, Rhybon is not happy yet. We'll see. ScratchDragon's raising the hovercraft. We'll see, and Rhybon will follow. We'll have to see whether uh Hobbs is at least soon, because well, we may not have the strongest team yet. All it takes is the right character on Hobbs, and you can figure it out.
Absolutely. It can feel bad if you do a ton of looting and shopping and then you get there and there's a Sid or Kane and you could have just got through the Ogre Axe you got in like the second chest.
But I haven't seen any dancing daggers, so a duplicate Edward would not necessarily be the best. Um, no power staffs, no black swords, so currently we're kind of offensively non-existent.
Yep, we got a little peek of Antlion taking a bath in the waterfall.
Those are rough.
Strange not to see Antlion on the moon. But it looks like our runners are being pretty thorough with their looting just because they haven't really found the thing that gets them started.
Yeah, that archer bow with some of these charm arrows and like a bandana is kind of what we're at right now, and getting 1200 damage out of that is that could be slow without enough defense gear to stay alive. It can really be struggle, and you don't want Hobbs to struggle of all things.
For sure. It looks like Rhybon's decided to transition into shopping percent. Stopping off in Troya, which is always a good place because of the two item shops. Just
There's
finds
the
another
archer bow.
another archer bow, some fire arrows, which are useful against a small handful of bosses.
Uh,
Exits are nice. Kamikaze's useful.
I have a solution if it's a free boss. It may not be free, but it's a solution. Oh, silk webs.
Always,
Bombs.
always good to find silk webs.
There's a couple early gauntlets, maybe an early Hobbs or ordeals grind. That's another. Not even seeing what we got there, or the boss.
Pour 'em in a sparkle.
If it's D Lunar's archer bow fire arrows, will get the job done
That's
with
true, but I
aim.
think
With aim.
yeah, I think Rhybon actually didn't buy the fire arrows, but he has charm and samurai arrows, which should be good enough.
I really would be interested if that Porum has a power staff. Samurai bow, there's a big ticket.
All right, Wyvern, what's the Witchburn gonna be?
Oh. Oh.
Ice 2 not too threatening in that spot.
But Samurai bow, if ScratchDragon looted any of those charm arrows, that'll be a Rosa online, and we'll have to see if Rhybon follows suit with the Antlion loot.
Yeah, certainly the most powerful, offensive item for this team that we found for either runner so far.
Looks like it's archery for Porum, so not the power staff one would all want in all early white mage seeds. That's a good target. One might say that's the best target, but Porum had action queued, so this. Nope, we're through.
We are through. And, Forum probably could have thrown out a slow there at the very start and made that a little safer, but I think because the Witchburn wasn't too threatening, that was actually a fairly safe fight.
Rosa's in the center slot.
Yeah, that's not ideal. This
Especially
pale
if we have
dim.
the samurai bow. I think we were going to go with non-aim strats, and then oh wait, no, we haven't equipped that, and that's Medusa.
Oh no, just is the only arrows he has is Medusa arrows? That's really unfortunate.
This is we'll get through.
Well, it'll be a good time for fans of the doot sound effect. Rhybon does pick up the samurai bow.
There's a chance that Rhybon is through with Paladin before ScratchDragon, but we're still losing. Are we saving because of the samurai bow? Or just
Possibly. Might still just be looking for more power.
think Rhybon really wants Black Sword.
Yeah, you know, and the other thing is, if there's a heroine robe and you miss it, it's so punishing.
That's up. 10 strength can do a lot of work. Oh, and X. Were those also Troya?
Yes, they were in the cafe, I believe.
There we go. ScratchDragon through Paladin.
Yep, and he gets a tower key for his trouble, which is an objective.
Now we're a hook route, a darkness, and one more.
Definitely shaping up as a potentially jetty seed. You can see Rhybon here getting through much quicker with Rosa aiming with good arrows in the top slot.
Yeah. 400 versus 100 at best.
And having to trigger the slow counters.
ScratchDragon will need some better arrows soon, or need to. Edward doesn't help this team either.
Yeah, not really. We haven't seen a dancing dagger or anything to really make him have utility.
Earth Crystal or Sand Ruby with the right characters, what ScratchDragon.
Yeah, I think he's on the right track here, doing some shopping, trying to fill that
Yeah,
missing.
you could mute, poison, charm, any of those would be a big help.
Well,
Dancing
there is a dancing
Dagger.
dagger. And he knows about the Edward, so he picks one up.
If we do Baron in before ordeals, that'll be the big bear ordeals one will be the big point of save
I
with a
saw
dancing
Rhybon.
dagger.
Yeah, I saw Rhybon saw Power Staff as well in the
Oh,
Fabul.
that's the
Um,
big ticket. If you can get agility to go Rosa Porum, you can go and get Zerk strats going early.
Certainly. I guess we'll find out who the boss is here in Fabul in a minute.
Public treasury loot. Oh, Medusa arrows.
Well, this is definitely the fight for those Medusa arrows.
Down. Looks like nothing of value in the public treasury. Oh,
Looks like either the
what
timing or
was
the
wrong with the
agility was.
timing?
Uh, you know, it might be the agility rather than the timing, because it looked to me like he timed it right.
Feel like this isn't that fast a spot as part of it.
Yeah, and it just sort of went downhill from there.
Looks like we're then just gonna go aim strat and go for murder.
Yeah, that should work.
Still not actually sure why that fight went wrong.
Yeah, I don't understand all of the nuances behind rocking Medusa arrows in particular. They in my
I guess
experience,
accuracy. I've had short bow miss, but that's samurai bow was the part that
yeah, it's a strange one. One advantage of doing aim strats here is you can try to get a life glitch off on one of these guards, which is a pretty substantial infusion of early game experience. Yeah, I think Possum's explanation in chat about the Medusa arrows failing is probably right. When you don't have a full party and when you have sort of, agility that's not anchored and that is, different actors at different agility settings, you can sometimes get these extra ticks in that.
and another reason to not trade Fool for the underground when you have the option.
Yep, a pan. No single dipping for bull today. Also, kind of makes it look like a potential jet because that's going to be another 2 checks once we get underground.
2-3-1, so roll go mode definitely pushes that grind. Let's see how Wyvern goes for ScratchDragon. Still aiming in the center slot. I know it can overflow the aim and cause problems that way, but with all accuracy, can still, with low accuracy, do high damage.
Yep. It's probably not quite optimal to have her in the center slot here, but not a big issue. And I like the use of the silk web that should make this very comfy.
Get it slower, use these tier 1 J items to just push little damage with characters that just not have anything. See what's preventing us from getting our first real Zerker. Close.
Not the best plague here, and it's going to be a little bit hard to down one of our characters and keep the DPS up, but we should get through.
We have a kamikaze, so that helps a lot. And with that,
That does
actually,
help a lot.
we could technically go for a count strat if we wanted, but with the archery being our DPS.
Yeah, the kamikaze really helps speed this up. Just goes to show that that item that a lot of players overlook can really have some unexpected utility.
With that Star Veil being there, goes down. That's huh?
You got me. That was that was different.
No, no, that wasn't a miss. There was a wall.
Yeah, I have never seen that before. Didn't know that could happen. Even after 1,000+ seeds, you can learn new things.
Is that 'cause plague count? There's no reflect ring in this game.
Back attack Leviathan is a little scary here with just 3 characters. You might need to use a
Still
Star
have
Veil.
Star Veil.
I think we saw Rhybon buy some extra Star Veils as well, so that counsels even more to just using them here.
Good and a bit of good RNG here, so We have the Starveil on Cecil, we get a Berserk on Rosa. As long as it doesn't hit Rosa, we should now. We got Berserk Rosa pushing damage. Before we get to another Ice 2, it should be done.
Yep. Some good luck and some skill. That's what you like to see. Meanwhile, we have a party of all piggies over on ScratchDragon's side, but they're getting the job done.
I think I saw 1750, so Scratch might have found some mute arrows to this. Alrighty. What does Cecil and Ogreax have to solo?
Well, the bad news is it can't be Wyvern with some horrible witch burn because we've already seen Wyvern.
Um, um, back row. Nogo Pogo's probably the worst. If we have any Cure 2s in inventory, then that. So, about my hope for Paladin level 1 Paladin Cecil strat.
Not to be this seed. Mylon and friends. Drain Sword is not
That's a
this.
Drain Sword. That's bad, but
Yeah. Fortunately, not the most threatening boss here.
Bomb gets rid of the little guys. As long as we watch our HP, we'll be through. The lit ones do hurt. Do we have Cure 2, or was that just looted? Elixir.
I'm not sure. I mean, we have an elixir.
Their Diamond Shield, that should get us through.
Yes, it
And
certainly will.
not provide Lightning Resist. Alright. Is it time for the Elixir?
I think it is.
Alright. Using the tools to prevent a wipe, always good.
Yeah. You'll probably find Cure 3s in a shop if you really need them later. Not worth wiping now to try to conserve consumable.
Play goes down for ScratchDragon, so slightly rougher early game, but with the shopping, with the extra looting, ScratchDragon should be catching up quickly, and so as long as we can, no issues occur in these next couple fights, should be able to, should still be anyone's game.
Yep. I wonder if anybody's gonna get spicy and try to down an egg with Medusa arrows.
I don't think that can be your first. I think you need a bit more agility on Cecil to make that work. You can always go Silk Web and figure out the timing on 0 Qs, but if you have that down, kudos to you.
Yeah, I've seen some people just save and try to take a random crack at it, but it's an unreliable approach at best.
With a Black Mage, I found sometimes if you queue up an attack, it you have a stop queued up, that can sometimes get it done, but beyond that.
We'll see if Scratch has any more trouble with this Leviathan. It is a
just
dangerous
goes
fight.
straight, drops the Star Veil, which we have loads of, along with those Cure 2s, and I don't know that Scratch can lose at this point.
Yeah, I think he's pretty safe. Good job for both runners. Not too surprising, of course, given their experience, but Leviathan is a boss that can be really scary, but only in a handful of spots, and both runners recognizing the threat that Leviathan posed to this party here.
Yep, and oh, Life Potion. Yes, I'll take all.
Always happy to find those. The price increase is no issue.
And especially after the price decrease a little bit, back to buying loads, and especially in this flag set. There's black belts, the occasional ogre axe or cat claws, maybe a good elven bow, but for the most part, there's not too much big ticket expensive stuff.
Yeah, that's very true. The combination of the Min Tier 3 giving you more money and S Pro giving you less things you want to spend it on makes usually money not too big of an issue. Not too surprising to see Rhybon diving the immediate pan check here.
With this team, with what we've got, maybe you check Feymarch first, but or after this, but setting this up has 0 negatives and can give you a sand ruby or an earth crystal for, or even a darkness for some mega positive. Boon for the Edward that we're, well, some people know is in the seed.
Yeah, I think it's just really like you almost have to do it because if the darkness crystal is in your freebies, you really want to know.
Well, we have a drain sword. If we had a heroine robe or a souped up Edward, there's a couple more options, but I think King Queen Evelyn, or maybe if we have mega defensive gear, Karate Man are the only takeable fight.
Yeah, maybe Bahamut in the queen spot. There's a
Oh,
few.
oh, darkness. There we go.
Yeah, there you go. That definitely definitely is a little bit of
So
panic mode.
you do the super cannon room now? Do you wait till post grind and add in the top tower? You just go super cannon into pan turn in, see if you're in go mode? There are some choices, but this is progressing fast.
Yeah, all of those angles are reasonable, I think. I think my approach would probably be to turn in the pan, see if I'm already in go mode, and then sort of the walking time gives you also the opportunity to think and plan your next step.
I've got it. With enough ethers, we can do that PU.
Yeah,
I don't think we have enough ethers.
we could eventually do that probably. We have some undead resist gear. We might be able to do the Mylon Z too.
Wizard hat crystal armor, and that might actually be all you need. But we have darkness in hand and 3 moon objectives, so sadly I don't think we'll be seeing any shenanigans there.
Yeah, unfortunately not. I think really at this point, probably what the runners are, what Rhybon at least is thinking, since he knows about it, is how am I going to fill up my party ideally before I grind?
Uh, actually, take the egg now. If Rhybon knew about the Edward, take an egg now. Take both eggs you have, if you could, and then you have an Ogre Axe Cecil to help you with the grind, to slingshot Edward with the spoon and whoever is on the moon.
Yeah, I don't hate that line, especially if we know where charm mirrors are in shops, which I'm not sure if we do.
Charm arrows really do help allow you to do 2 lines of offense. There we go. ScratchDragon also has Paladin, also has Magma, and should get Darkness news pretty soon as well, so we'll see how much more prep or less prep is needed and where they go from here.
Looks like it's time for launching the whale on Rhybon's side. Another thing you can do to sort of think and plan ahead while you sit through this cutscene.
Yep. And you're almost certainly going to want the character in some way, so could even take the extra time to check the character now while you figure it out. Did we
Yep.
turn in the pan, or did I miss that?
I don't think we did.
Well, cutscene. Alrighty. Do we have 5 characters? Or are we going to be relying on Pan and Tower Key to solve? Good old 40 pack of life potions. Good for Fred. I want a level 30 Kane with a power shot right about now, and that's White Mage, Black Mage, Spoonword, and this character that exists called Cecil. Strong team.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure Rhybon is happy to see a black mage up on the dais.
Question is for Rhybon, how's he killing A?
Yeah, that's a reasonable question. There's probably a line where you take a random fight somewhere just to get ready enough to get stop, and then you use that, kill her off, kill the egg, and
That
set up your
should get
slingshot
your
that way.
Rydia back into slingshot range. Do we have... We could go for a set of Warlock.
Yeah. We, I think, have all the tools we need for that.
We'll see what the pan gives. And there's still this Baron Inn that needs to be done to get the Edward. He's not just gonna walk into the team.
That is very true. And who knows, maybe Baron Inn will have all the go mode we need.
Alright, Sheila 1. What do you got? Okay. 4.
Oh boy.
Oh, 2, 4, 6. We're at 8 key items.
Yeah, eight key items, and you know that that forge.
Super cannon room. We've got forge. We've got, which isn't a key item, but could be like a light bringer. We've got Baron Inn. Still hasn't been touched.
Yeah.
There's a world that we get to 10 key items.
I mean, it's certainly reasonable to at least do the Baron Inn and and tower key checks and see where you're at.
It's when you end up at 9 after that that you have to think.
That is the tough spot. So what do you think we're going to get from Kokol today?
Let's get a Geigen deck.
Not exactly.
Get Kokol.
You can buy a defense sword.
Defensive gear, Oh yeah, we don't need that samurai armor, but maybe we do.
Yeah, I mean, heavy armor
Dueling
certainly.
caliber. So both runners, one objective down. And Rhybon's just. Oh wait, Baron in.
Rhybon just equipping the caliber and briefly to
I'm
show
like,
just
oh,
how
we're
bad it
setting up
is.
the Mac Giant. Oh wait, you could do a Mac Giant with this party. You just maybe need a little more life potions.
Yeah, you could. I think it's gonna be faster with more than level 1
Yeah.
Ogre Eggs.
Oh, 20 levels saves you 10 minutes. I meant what I said. 40 is not enough if we're Mac Gianting with this party at this moment.
Yeah, Cecil hitting there for about 300, and if you multiply that by 4...
Probably gonna do an egg looking at, or just Rydia shouldn't end up outside of her.
Yeah, the experience there isn't too much to worry about. Evil Wall.
Looks like we have a defense sword for ScratchDragon.
Yep, he decided to spend the 98k. Evil Wall here. It's a little bit of a rude spot for Evil Wall, but this party should be fine.
You have 2 DPS. Either keep healing, or which Cecil should survive hits. Yeah. Worst comes to worst, you just chuck a cover on Rosa and you're through.
Yep. And Evil Wall is so slow here, it's a very slow spot.
Yeah. Looks like it could have even rolled on the slow side of slow. I've had some pretty fast Evil Walls for being Baron into.
Yeah, for those in chat who maybe aren't this deep in the weeds, there's certain boss spots like this one where the agility is actually randomly determined at the start of the fight in a certain range. And it can be particularly noticeable here because it's such a slow spot that even like the difference of 2 or 3 agility is proportionately a big deal.
Yep. With the 8 key items, with not getting a big swingy out of Forge, we're probably going to just hit the egg, get the levels, but if either of those were the case, I definitely could argue to push for 10 to half the grind, especially with Rydia in a slingshot crime.
Yeah, it makes sense. This is not like a super strong Mac Giant killing
something
party.
Something we want to buy? Or are we going into Baron Castle? That is one way to get level.
Yeah, it's a one way to get levels that also gets you a look at a key item. I don't hate it.
You're definitely gonna have Zerk, you're gonna have Blink, you're gonna Cecil should start to swing.
Sparkle at the first spot is a little spooky. We've already seen Plague,
Oh,
Wyvern,
no.
and Impaled him.
Wait, I missed it, actually. Sparkle. Yeah, I missed the sparkle, so I'm like, oh no, Antlion, that's bad, but also seen Antlion. Alright.
It is the Note
Yep.
Noodle.
Get the Zerk on if we on I don't know. And be ready to life potion some people.
Yeah, I would really be tempted on seeing this to just reset out, go figure out my egg, and forget Dwarf Castle is even a check.
Lurking Edward and having cover Cecil might have been the safest route through. Looking at that damage, we definitely have strength gear. So even though Edward is not leveled, strength gear makes up a lot of difference considering the slow strength growth of Edward and in general.
That it certainly does, but that Ogopogo has it out for Edward, so not working out too well so far.
Looks like we're priming Rydia for elimination of, well, Rydia. And that's been enough punches that we're probably just going to wait till after this wave, heal up, and then get Edward back. Yeah, if you get Edward some levels, and then you use the egg to maybe keep him in slingshot range, or pick a white mage slingshot that Edward can be secondary damage on the Mac Giants. How's this egg going?
Not bad, really. It's a little awkward,
Dirk
but I think he's gonna
Edward,
get through.
everyone's alive. So as long as this next hit kills, there we go.
And it does. Very well done by Scratch.
Nicely done. So, outside of not having the darkness and getting that character, it's depending on the value from Dwarf. This race, if there's no value from Dwarf, ScratchDragon never goes there. It could be a very even race from this stake.
Yeah, no, I mean, getting experience on Edward there does mean he probably isn't going to be able to sling Edward.
But, well, a slung Edward is good for this mid game. Nuke White is pretty good with flex strats in general, so I don't know that outside of needing to sling the Rydia, I think any secondary slingshot target or even not one at all will be fine.
Yeah, agreed. Rhybon heading into this second spot with only a couple of characters up, but it looks like that's not going to be an issue. Just Bahamut here, and a dupe Edward, not very exciting.
Yeah, if we don't resurrect Quorum, I think Rhybon's committing to getting the squishier white mages up to a slingshot. Yep,
Yeah.
that looks like the squad.
Scratch now has the news about the Darkness Crystal and about the Fey March. It'll be interesting to see what
You
his next
faded
move
the
is.
darkness for a while, so that could be nervous, but also you've been doing it. It all depends on how you feel about your early game, probably.
Yeah, if I was in Scratch's position, I wouldn't feel too bad, but, you know, anytime you're racing against somebody as good as Rhybon, it's pretty nerve-wracking.
There, and we have exit, so that's always good. Big question: Does Dwarf put Rhybon in go mode? But decent shot ScratchDragon is rushing this giant here.
Yeah, this could be a pretty big check.
Package, that's go mode.
That is go mode. Wow, huge.
And with Zot or Falcon being the other two objectives, there's not a good alternative for ScratchDragon. Like, we can always get an Earth Crystal or a Falcon from any of our other objectives. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Very tempted to do Super Cannon Room as Rhybon. It's not gonna get much faster. You're in go mode. It could be 10.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, Gauntlet's punished, but that's Gauntlet. It can't even be Mom Bomb.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and this
Scratch
party
will
could get through the
Scratch
gauntlet.
will
It
need
would
to
just be
pick
slow.
real fast.
I mean, if Scratch came back and did Dwarf, I think he'd be okay. It's just that that's a very unlikely decision to make.
That's a choice to make. And there's definitely logic to do it. The logic being you don't have the pass. You aren't in go mode. So you do lower Babel, and if you don't get go mode from there, you decide to pick on that last easy spot.
Yup. Looks like Rhybon is going to make the play for the Super Cannon Room, trying to get that 10th key item. Makes sense, as we discussed.
Yep. And we should, as long as Scratch feels ready for a Mac Giant grind, should be seeing that pretty instantaneous. Right?
Oh,
None of
Scratch
these
coming,
other objectives. Oh,
landing outside Dwarf.
Christine. Don't know if it's to his benefit or not. I think it might just lead Scratch trailing behind Rhybon's footsteps for the rest of this last period, but it also will put Scratch in go mode.
Well, we'll see if he does more than just shop first, but I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, he's in a difficult spot either way, right? Because if he does the same thing, then he's kind of following behind in the same footsteps. But any other path to go mode is pretty much necessarily going to be even slower. So it's just tough either way.
Yeah. So Rhybon does not care what this is as long as it's a key item. Doesn't even want the pass.
A
Of
white
course,
shirt.
the white shirt. That'll help either Poro, Morosa, and Zeromus, so that is a good item, but unfortunately, no. We do not get to save 5 minutes of our grind.
Yeah, I mean, certainly for a Zonk, it's one of the things you're happier to see. But you know, sometimes you just
That
have to
white
bite the
shirt,
bullet.
the white shirt puts that Mylon Z into being free.
Yes, it certainly does. We could always go back and clear out the Fame Arch, Mylon Z, and CPU to see if we can find our 10th key item that way.
Let's see how ScratchDragon handles the Ogopogo here. Looks like Rhybon's getting the ducks in a row, so can just grind, land, fly, and go.
Yep. I didn't quite see if he has charm arrows for Rosa, but that'll only affect the speed of the grind.
Did Scratch see Peaks the boss and decide not to do Dwarf?
I mean, that's very reasonable, but
It very is
unfortunately,
reasonable.
unfortunately, in this seed, it's gonna turn out to be a bit of a punish.
Uh, Probably the next best thing Scratch can get is Earth Crystal and a pass, but that's just how to make it close in the end if points are not a good number.
Yeah.
Right. One.
I mean, the
So
difficulty is
you
the
can
pass.
get an encounter on the airship, I guess.
Yeah, the pass doesn't even matter too much in this scenario where you can just end on the moon in Rhybon's position.
Yeah, it doesn't matter for Rhybon. It would help bring back a little time if ScratchDragon ends up in an alternative go mode.
Correct, but I mean, it'd be
Yeah.
closing the gap, but I don't think closing it enough.
Interesting. Our AoE isn't strong, but if you get Edward and Cecil Zerk, they can get the skip.
Yep. Also demissed at the Ruby spot. Don't think we'll be seeing either person do that today, but I guess the hook could be Scratch's path to go mode.
You. Oh. So what you're saying is the hook could be we could have had hard required hook.
It was in the cards potentially.
Let's see how this 20 more charm arrows. Nice. Let's see how this setup goes for Rhybon. Back attack, of course. We do have blink, so safety-wise, we could just set up a pile of blink.
Yeah, that is true. Although, you know, getting through this with as few blink casts as you can is sort of part of the optimizations that some of the stronger runners are going to be focusing on in this tournament.
Yeah, figuring out how to save time on your Mac Giant on getting the prep done, getting the setup done. What do you need? How much of a grind do you need? Well, there may be most seeds or a lot of seeds that result in a Mac Giant. There is still a lot of stuff that can be figured out to shave off time and just optimize your route.
Yeah,
Unfortunate Big Doll for ScratchDragon didn't quite have the RNG needed.
that is unfortunate. I wonder if Rhybon would be better off with Cecil in the center slot here. I believe the spoon has perfect accuracy, meaning that it doesn't really benefit
That
from
was
the
a
center
glance
slot.
target. Well, I guess Riddy is still going to get Slingshot. And that's a short bow. On goes
Oh
Porum.
boy.
Thankfully, Cecil's not swinging.
We're going to give Cecil a hard slap across the face to bring him back to his senses.
Why does Cecil keep on casting Sight? What is he trying to find out? resurrecting Rydia. Looks like my guess is that wants to stop on Rydia.
Yeah, well, she's gonna get a big pile of experience here.
Decent size. Calbrain Dolls definitely prevents her from getting out of slingshot range, though, I would think.
Well, I don't know if that's true when you kill the big doll, because I think the big doll has most of the
That is where
experience.
the other part of the XP goes. That was another objective. So Scratch also enters go mode.
Yes. Slightly longer path, but that is kind of the thing that he needed. I mean, to at least have a line in back into it if something goes wrong for Rhybon.
I was going to go and think about it. We haven't seen Gauntlet. There is a Masa, but if there's a hook or something on the moon, that would just still be an alternative for Rhybon as well. I'm trying to think if there's a way that there's a fight that sort of stimmies Rhybon and really allows ScratchDragon to maybe make a fade with the Earth Crystal, but I'm not sure on that.
Yeah, it's tough. Even all Gauntlet at Massa post-grind should be doable if, you know, a little slow and a little scary.
Alright. Object still being identified. Reapplying Blink. I guess in triggering it with the Ogre Accessal. Looking at this setup, odds are our way of killing the Searcher is we killed the Searcher. So at some point, once we've felt like Rhybon's done enough Mac Giants and is getting close, we'll likely pivot to like Zerking Edward or something to just get it finished off.
Yeah, I think ideally with this team, you'd want to count the damage you're doing to the Searcher, and then sort of have it in a range where once you're finished, you're confident you can just Zerk Edward and kill it in one hit.
Yep. The slight risk if Rhybon's not careful is miscounting damage or some massive crit out of Cecil, and well, you finished your grind. Boy, is that Rydia in slingshot range still.
That is definitely something you have to be careful of.
In other seeds in the past, I had on a race one of my few occasions to actually do a Mac Giant before this tourney. Set it up, had a Crystal Sword, had a Sid, was doing the Mac Giants, had double Rydia ready to slingshot, and, well, forgot to resurrect them. It was a whoops type of moment.
Yeah, that's a lesson I think we've all learned at least once.
You're like, why did my spell list stop so soon? Oh no. Oh, that's Bahamidor.
Yeah, you know, the other thing I've seen a few people run into is you queue up a power with a Thunderclaw Yang, and then unexpectedly...
Oh, then you get the kill, and yeah.
Yeah.
I've had that, but it didn't kill the Searcher. It just might have been Charm Claw Yang, but didn't kill the Searcher, just summoned another giant before I was maybe as ready as I would have wanted.
The one thing that potentially in some situations makes Charm Claw the better option.
Less likely to kill the Searcher.
Alright, it looks like Rhybon is setting up the Zerk on Edward here to try to finish out his grind.
Nicely done. 514. That should be Nuke and White. Rosa might not. Rosa doesn't get White, but we've still got about 120,000, 150,000 from the moon, so should get that second white caster, no problem.
Yeah, possibly even more if one of the first two checks turns out a key item.
Right.
Or-
R at 9.
Or maybe the Alt Gauntlet shows up and we get all the experience.
Have you heard of second grind? How about third grind? Your first grind prepares you for the second grind of the Mac Giant to make sure you don't wipe to the third grind of the Gauntlet. Alright. Let's see what Zot has in store.
Don't think there's much that'd be too challenging for Scratch, although
We've got Bahamut, so that's always the answer is a lot.
yeah, usually the thing that is spooky here is kind of a Golbez in that second spot if you haven't saved.
Yeah, it could be a time waster for sure. Let's. Not knowing the bosses, 3 fights left. Walk down. Fight. I'm guessing Rhybon will be 1:15:43.
It was a reasonable prediction. Do you think we're going to see a swag walk from him tonight?
Outside. As long as Rhybon trusts and reflects strats, I would assume that you swag walk. Maybe if there was a really sketchy Masamune fight and you just do not like what the Cecil's agility is at, you figure it out, but we don't have any Yang safety cushions is the issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to imagine Cecil's ability getting too problematic. I believe Rhybon has Silk Webs as well.
Yeah, so it should be an RA4 Zeromus fight. Without a gauntlet, I think Cecil's going to be like 32, so not that 33 you want to equip a Dwarf Axe, but
Yeah, but 32 is really not particularly bad.
when you're doing mage stuff, as long as your party's ordered properly, you shouldn't bleed too much time. If your party's ordered not quite right, that's where you can lose some ticks here, lose some ticks there, and it can get a little closer than you would like. And these HP values will be low. You will not want to take it under Big Bang.
That is certainly true. A little bit of a time-wasting fight here for Rhybon with Dr. Dialogue.
Has a nuke, has a white, those should be able to skip phase 2.
Scratch finds a Palom, which is kind of useful in the Tower of Zot.
Nuke white is better, but you definitely want the Edward for now. We've been poisoned. Do we have any 10?
I don't know if we have camping gear.
Or do we have to go heal, heal, heal?
We could just have Poison Walk for the whole rest of the seed.
You gotta at least heal Edward or Cecil, because just if you want them zerked. Maybe you don't. Oops, there's the pass. Don't think we'll be using that, but it's there. And that, with that Bahamut, we're through on Zot, so that should be a another objective for Scratch.
Yep,
And if it's
they're
10th key item, can definitely have a shorter grind to save a little bit of time there to make up for other issues.
yeah, we do see the heal casts for Rhybon, clearing out that poison. Sand Ruby is a 10th key item.
Yay! Alrighty. What's our plan? There's a terrible, terrible world, but maybe it exists. Nope, we're just doing the count here. I was gonna say, there's a terrible world that maybe exists where ScratchDragon attempts to do the lowest level of low-level strats and just clears the move. This is not the team for it, however.
That would be quite a gamble. And if you're Scratch and you don't know about Dwarf having the package, you probably feel pretty good about how the seed has gone.
Yeah, getting that Earth Crystal, getting that 10th key item from a top of tower play really does feel good. Power key objective maybe makes it a little more expected, but still feels it's hard to say. Some runners definitely would have done a real early tower key and faded top. It all depends on what they're aiming for and how their team is functioning. There's the searcher, so good Mac Giant setup. That's
Yep.
Bigan.
Again, always a little rude on the moon, but this team should be able to handle them.
Edward's low. Cecil's not Zerked, so he'll cover Edward. If we drop to cover on Rydia, we can maybe throw a Quake out. Or we have Leviathan.
Yeah, but the confidence with Rhybon actually leading with a nuke to get a little bit of extra damage on the main body before the wall goes up.
Really can help out. How nice of Bigan. He's just getting the team prepared for full cover strats on the Masa altar.
Yep.
Now, we may have 10 key items, but it looks like I'm not certain that we have any slingshots primed, so it might just even out in the end with, however, just a bit more XP on Cecil and Rosa. And Edward, I guess.
Based on those HP totals, I don't think we have any slingshot set up for Scratch.
Everyone's been important to the team up in preparation. I like that reward. That makes me feel a lot safer at Zeromus.
It is nice when you have a reflect party to be able to just have that elixir to toss on somebody.
Make sure you just got that second person or one person at full health in case in case you don't get it before the second big bang, or you need to panic recovery somewhere here.
Yeah, a little less helpful when you have a team that has such low HP that even at full HP, it's hard to be safe from the under big bangs, but still a useful tool. Probably better than most things you'd find. Just checking off your
If it
objectives.
doesn't boost made stats, it probably wouldn't have been helpful. Ew. Edward, he's our man. If he can't do it, Cecil can.
Well, this would have been a bit of a punish for Scratch if he had decided to drop the Edward and try to sling Palom here.
Yeah. Oh no!
Oh no, did he just accidentally cast exit?
It's right. It's real easy to do when if you're casting white magic.
It absolutely is, and I've done that on the D machine fight before, and it is not
Oh
fun.
my big the amount of times I've tried to run buffer out of a D machine fight. That was learning. That took a bit to get rid of.
Oh yeah. Well, so now Scratch probably feels really behind, especially against a runner as good as Rhybon. I don't know that at this point there's really any way for him to change his routing to try to adjust for that, but
If you weren't comfortable jetting the moon without a grind, you're still not comfortable jetting the moon without a grind.
yeah.
And okay, looks like we're just doing it live, resurrecting people as needed, which, if it sets up cover strats, saw Cecil has health at the end when we find the grind. Work for me.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure how much time on average the manipulation saves when you don't have you can't run on.
What is this, the horseman setup here? Less white mages in the heat. We might have been on a rough seed.
Yeah. Do you think this Valvalis is an annoying enough boss to save rather than Swag Walk, especially with the pass in hand?
I'm not exiting to use the pass, but
No, I think Rhybon probably is
if
experienced enough to
you
feel.
think your route was real good, like if you don't think there's about 4 minutes of stuff that can be made up, this is definitely a slow fight. It would really, really be bad if you mess up your Zeromus, but if you're confident in your reflect and are at all nervous about the other runner, I don't. I take the minute time save of swag walking. Might not
Yeah,
even be a minute.
this is such a jet seed that like every minute feels like a lot.
There we go. Valvalis down. That'll be the crystal for Rhybon. Scratch looks like well in hand. I don't want Baron Key. Take it back.
How about a crystal?
I guess I can take the crystal. All right. Level 48 Cecil. Bow speed 4. So either Rhybon checked agility and I missed it, knows the agility table, or is just trusting the team enough that it doesn't matter to not peek or set up any agility on Cecil.
I think he did check it, and it was 30.
Yeah, the important thing is being over 28, which it should have been a guarantee at this point.
Yeah, and Battle Speed 4 actually is kind of a nice compromise, I think, between, a really aggressive swag walk would be to try to do this at like 2, maybe. But at 4, it's hard for this to go too wrong.
Yep. And it's time for the Zeromus reveal. That really as HP is. Yeah, these are HP totals on these characters.
Yeah, I mean, the worst thing that can happen here, I think, is probably, the initial counter nuke goes on Rydia, and then it probably becomes hard to avoid the second Big Bang.
The worst unforced. The worst thing that can happen that's not a menuing error is that, where it just slows down the fight, make sure you get that second Big Bang.
Yeah,
Starvale,
but
we have the white queued up.
we got a nice big stack of Cure 3s, so in
Looks like
worst
we're
case
silk
scenario,
webbing.
we could
Rosa
still
might
just...
not have white.
Oh, Rosa might not have white. That's a good point. 2148. That might be like one level short.
We're either silk webbing because we wanted it out early, or we're silk webbing because we don't have white. Good live. Oh, we have Cure 3, so the elixir wasn't that big of a get.
Yeah.
Here we go. Yep. Nothing getting queued, so 2 nukes, a white, and I think about 2 Edward swings before the first phase. That's probably about... That's about 27, 28.
Yeah, it definitely makes the battle speed 4 make more sense, knowing that Rosa just came up a little short.
So yeah, there's the downsides of you don't have that extra white, but there's also kind of the upside of, well, I guess Rosa can easily just cast Cure 4 and you don't feel bad about it.
That is true.
And Cecil should just guaranteed live. It'll be Black Hole phase, so as long as we have an extra Starvale, can easily throw a Resurrection at Rydia, and I think with that Silk Web, it should just be fine. Even if everyone else died.
Yeah, I wonder if it's the fact that Dr. Dialogue was at the Merle altar and the split X that caused Rosa to come up short.
Split XP there, didn't get a 10th key item until the Baron key and Crystal. Who was at the White Spear altar again? Rhybon.
Yep,
So
bygone.
that's not much XP anyways.
No, don't really want to do an arm grind on that spot.
I've got an arm grind at the element spot for an extra 200 XP an arm.
Sometimes there's no getting around it.
But nukes are going, whites are going. I wonder if... I hope that white shirt is on Porum. There's a couple arguments. Porum for better white, Rosa to make sure she lives, Cecil to make sure he lives healthily. Because we're tanking it with hoping Rosa lives. She does.
Yep. And this should be fine.
Cecil shows up. We don't have Starvales.
Oh, did we use up all of our Starvales even after we bought more?
It's either that or we just did the math.
Well, this is a direct nuke, so I'm assuming he's counted the damage.
8,000, that should be it. There we go.
GG.
GG's Rhybon.
Do you guys feel that? It's like,
Totally felt it.
and the air in this Discord channel just went out as the skill level, at least the average skill level, decreased significantly.
I'm not so sure about that, but anyway, welcome and GG, Rhybon.
Thanks, Dekar. Hey, Joe. How you guys doing?
Good. That was a jet of a seed, wasn't it?
Yeah, the package really opened it up. I wasn't necessarily doing Dwarf Castle to look for Go mode per se. I was looking for potentially a better sling target and maybe a little bit of XP. And it ended up being Go mode, and I'm like, oh, well, okay, this might be a sub 120.
Yeah, it made me look a little silly for saying I'd probably just reset out as soon as I see the Ogo.
I was actually very close to wiping there too, and I probably would have just turned around and gone to do something else. But luckily, Edward with his spoon and Cecil with his tankiness carried the day, I suppose.
Absolutely. Anything else stand out to you about this seed?
I made a mistake by selling my Medusa arrows early because I'm like, wait, how am I going to kill an egg now? Crap. But other than that, no, the very jetty seed. Um, Fortunate to have a diamond shield for that Mylon and friends in the changing room, because otherwise that probably would have been a very difficult fight that I probably couldn't do with what I had at the time.
Did it just
And
have damage or
and very lucky as well that Wyvern up on Hobbs decided to nuke Cecil and not Rosa, who was my only damage for that particular fight. You're the 1 in 3 chance of just wiping right there, and that would have been pretty terrible for my time.
Yeah, you did get some beneficial luck on targeting and things, but you know, it's always a combination of both skill and luck to be successful in free enterprise.
Yeah, what did they say? Get lucky, don't get unlucky. Morpheus.
and even if you do get lucky, you have to prepare to be lucky sometime. Like if you're not ready to take advantage or set up to where like on your Leviathan fight, you
Mm-hmm.
got a Star Veil on Cecil, you zerked the Rosa, and then you trusted in the fight from there. You needed a little luck, sure, but you set it up so the luck was as good as you could get it, and where if you were lucky, it would help push damage a little.
True. That Leviathan
Uh,
fight kind of like slipped my mind, but you're right. In that particular situation, there's not a lot you can do other than set yourself up to be successful and hope you are. And fortunately, the Ice Tooth went in the right direction.
Yep.
Actually, speaking of ordeals, that was an odd thing that happened in the plague fight with the
That's
attempt to.
So I have my cam on when I'm racing these, and you will see the most puzzled look on my face when the Life 1 reflects off a dead Cecil. I'm like, is that new? Is that a bug? Has that always been around? I've never seen that before.
Well, it was
It
new to both me and Joe.
stumped us. It's you learn more every season, and
Yeah,
sometimes that's just saying something, and other times that's that.
kind of happy that I actually cast Life 1 because I'm pretty sure if I used a life potion, it would have gone through, and I never would have known that this is a potential interaction. I'll have to be more careful in the future. I'm guessing maybe the Star Veil didn't clear because Cecil maybe died the exact same turn as the life potion or life spell going off, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah,
It's
that's the best I think chat could come up with.
Hmm. Otherwise, yeah, Jetty Seed. What can I say?
Well, what else are you what are you looking forward to in your group?
Hmm. I feel like I'm destined to match up with Korg in the near future, and I'm not looking forward to that match. Korg is a very difficult opponent. I was lucky to get past ScratchDragon as well. I played ScratchDragon for the first time back in ZZ4 in the round of 32. Barely got by him before I got O2'd by you, Decker, so that was a fun time. But great memories. But it's always good to play Scratch and Scratch being around the community for so long. I think we talked prior to our ZZ4 match, and he'd been around since like ZZ1. So being able to square up and match up with someone who's been playing the game for so long Us old nerds got to stick together, but it's always a pleasure and always pleasant.
Yeah, I do remember having a vested interest in that match back in the CZ4, and it was fun seeing you guys run it back here in CZ6.
Hmm. Time is a circle, I guess.
I guess so, but this time around we won't be matched up in the next round, so...
A terrible spot for Luca to be.
Thank goodness. I wasn't looking at the spoiler log. Where were the Earth Crystal, or has Scratch found alternative Go mode?
So Scratch did find the Earth Crystal at the top of tower.
Ah, okay. That was one thing I was considering after I did the Penguinator. I'm just hoping this is my 10th key item, walking out the tower key. And it wasn't, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm just going to do my grind with 9. But I had in the back of my mind, what if a key item was sitting at the top of tower? That would have cut my grind in half, but really 4 Mac Giants is not very long, right? It's like 3 to 4 minutes total.
Yeah, it's not long once you're in the fight to just kill a few extras. He did get to 10 key items, but I think because he didn't have Sling set up on anyone, he ended up having to grind just as long anyway.
Yeah, too bad.
I guess he could have taken the Palom from the top of tower and slung him, but he didn't choose to do that.
Were you
Column?
Earth Crystal? Palm was Zot.
Oh, right, he did Earth Crystal, okay.
Were you ever nervous going into that Zeromus fight after having such a long Val fight? Not getting white on Rosa is what it looked like, and
Yeah, I was 1 level off from white on Rosa. I was really hoping that we would have gotten there. It would have made the final fight a bit more comfortable, but I wasn't too nervous. I mean, I guess I was nervous enough to turn on Battle Speed 4 versus Battle Speed 3. But other than that, Joe, Deckar, you both have done plenty of Reflect Strats with a single nuke and a single white caster, and it's not that difficult.
Yeah, I was expecting you to do the swag walk there, but I was also speculating that it's Dr. Dialogue Split X that cost you the second white.
Could have been. Yeah, if that was a full XP boss, I'd probably make it all the way to white. Never really crossed my mind, though, to do like an additional fight in order to make it happen, because a second white is great, but, you know, nuke is better.
as long as you're ready for a second Big Bang, it's not catching you unaware. It's almost always fine.
Yep, it's like you're going to be, usually, more often than not, 1 spell away from killing the Zeromus on Battle Speed 4 with the nuke white, if you don't actually kill him before the second Big Bang. So the longer you have someone who's guaranteed to survive, in this case Cecil, then there's no big deal. Just throw a life potion, cast nuke, and walk away.
Yeah,
Did you know the nuke was gonna kill?
Yeah, I was at like 59. Actually, I could have maybe hit with Edward to kill if I really wanted to try to be swaggy. But I didn't want to try that badly because I did not save after Valvelis.
Oh, that would be the greatest swag, and also that would be unfortunate if it missed.
Yeah, that would be an unfortunate failure.
Do you have any final thoughts about the seed or about how the future in this tourney so far?
Well, the tournament's been fun. I'm really enjoying the flag set. Mac Giants are Mac Giants, of course, but there's still plenty of early challenge. This early seed wasn't exactly free. So, yeah, it's a good tournament, but it's way past my bedtime, so I'm going to get to bed pretty soon. But I just wanted to say before I take off, Joe, Deckar, thank you very much for the comm, Scar for rolling the seed, and Beauty for pushing the buttons. I know it's a little late, so hate to keep you guys up, but I appreciate you guys all staying up regardless.
Have a good night, and GG's again, Rhybon.
Thanks. Y'all have a good one.
That was Rhybon, our winner of the match for the night. And looking at it, ScratchDragon did take a Mia. I didn't catch the reward, but got a little extra levels and is.
Well, judging from the damage that Cecil's putting out, I think I can guess what the reward was.
That's a big reward. But here, finishing up the last 2 fights, that'll really speed up that Val.
That it will.
Level 56 Cecil, we might be seeing hybrid from Scratch. That's always a pleasure to see different strats come thrown at Zeromus.
Yeah, Zeromus execution is, I would say relatively easy to learn, but really hard to master. And so getting to see 2 great runners tackle it 2 different ways would be a lot of fun.
Pretty much you find your first strat, usually some sort of high power Zerkers, lots of level, you've got Cure 4, get through just sort of ink the big bangs as they come, get the Zerks out. Then just kind of over time, you'll develop a lot more strats, figure out how to nerf the big bang, figure out how to set up reflex strats and execute them. There's just lots of fun that can be gotten from progressing in Zeromus knowledge.
Absolutely. I still need to figure out how to consistently nerf when I've got a fast enough anchor.
When you've got like RA3 Zeromus, no Silkweb, no white, no slows gotten out, and you're trying to figure out that nerf timing, can be real tight.
Yeah, like trying to count like zap ticks and things like that. It just gets really thorny.
How's that? Looks like we are keeping safe with cover strats, and that's a lot more damage out of Edward.
Well, that Edward ended up getting quite a few extra levels on Scratch's side.
As long as a weak doesn't hit Cecil, we're through the fight. Close. That was very shiny in this lighting.
Yep, and with the cursor hovering over whites, I think we'll probably be fine, even if he did get hit with a weak.
Yep. Nope. Keep on thinking we're through the fight. Bye, Porum. There we go.
That always hanging around a little longer than you expect.
Along with the tendency of bosses, the moment they know they're dead, they decide they're taking someone down with them.
Yeah, usually whoever you want to have a little more hit points, right?
Pretty much, you're like, I need level on you. Oh. Wait. Oh. And then you have to decide, not in this case, but in others. Is there any way to get more XP? Do you need more XP?
Well, Scratch decides he doesn't need anything because he's going to also make the swag walk.
I do miss some of the low-level, low-power Zerker strats that can pop up in some other flag sets. High-power Zerkers, that's one thing. When you're at 2k HP at most, swinging a pile of ogre axes and like defense swords, that's real fun Zerkers.
Yeah, it certainly hasn't been the meta in this particular flag set. I think because when you combine that with the challenging agility, people just aren't
That's where
confident.
when nerfs aren't free, that's where low-level Zerkers become scary. So, looking at the setup. Wasn't sure who was going to go first, but that makes lots of sense. And we are getting Berserk rolling. Nice setup.
Yep.
Look at this agility. I think if you get a swing with Cecil. Trying to figure out when to use Silk Web.
That is the awkward part of this turn order.
Yep. Rydia is definitely an option.
Yeah, better than any of the alternatives.
Like it. Without a... Oh, ow. I don't think Porum has a white shirt on.
Doesn't seem like it, but you know, at least it wasn't targeted at Edward.
Sign the heal is a little more important than getting Cecil going.
Probably
How
had
much
time
is
to do both, but I don't mind being careful there.
safe is safe, especially at this point in the seat. 1,000. There could be a world where you just don't do anything and wait for a black hole to, and then finish off with reflect, but don't even know if that's faster.
Yeah, I think that little initial nuke killing Porum did slow us, slow us down a little bit, but it's still going to be a relatively safe fight.
You have a 2,800 Rosa. I don't think you're at risk. Go, second big bang. So if this next hit doesn't hit, it's probably 2. Oh. Oh, well, that's Zerk Cecil. Definitely are. It should be phase 2.
Black hole does come out to waste a little of our time.
If you're in phase 2, is a nuke the first after the first black hole in phase 2, it's a nuke, right?
That is right. I think that black hole might have been queued before the tip, but I'm not sure.
That extra swing from Cecil probably tipped, so I think that was a black hole from before phase 2, and we've tipped into phase 2 now, so
I agree. And there's the first shake for phase 2.
yep, casting a couple fast to speed up the Cecil Zerker. I don't know how many it takes to get him fast enough, but every little bit can help. Also, we're not at any risk of dying, can always power couple.
Absolutely. I think Scratch here just really wants to skip that additional black hole.
And there we go. Or nope, that was a fake shit.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was with you. I had thought we were already in phase 2 before that, but I guess we did get slowed down a little at the start of the fight getting Zerks up, so it isn't crazy that it was a fake shake.
Yeah. That definitely a rock. Not what I was expecting to happen from Rock.
And there's the crack.
GG's ScratchDragon.
GG. So what did you think?
Oh,
Go
I
ahead,
was
Joe.
gonna just ask, what are your thoughts on that early part of that seed, that like first 20 minutes that you had to deal with?
It was fine. It's not the worst. I mean, we didn't do any damage, but I mean, me and my opponent are in the same boat, so I mean, it doesn't really matter that much, does it? It's just trying to get the small optimizations going, which pretty sure I missed.
Yeah, it's definitely about the small optimizations. Deciding when to keep looting versus to transition to shopping. But there's only a pretty limited universe of things you can do with those starting characters and the items you guys found.
I was hoping for a heroine robe, but never found it, so I just decided to go through. I thought I got through it pretty well, but I definitely, thinking back on it, overshopped a little bit. I would have been okay going to Antlion a little bit earlier than that. Antlion and Hobbs. But, I mean, hindsight, right?
Yeah, always. And you can watch it back to see, I guess, some of the little things Rhybon did to save some time. I think he maybe got a little lucky with finding some better arrows to make his throws more powerful. Can't recall where he picked those up.
If I were to guess, I guess he went to Ebling, because I pretty much ransacked everywhere else.
I know it wasn't Devlin, but did do I think Rhybon did a Troya stop before, so might have been somewhere in.
Yeah.
Well, hard to say without watching back. Any thoughts? And then we hit the mid game of the seed, and you get the darkness. What drove your routing after finding darkness crystal?
Oh, shoot, where was Darkness Crystal? Top of tower?
Freebie.
Oh yeah, the freebie chest, that's right. After that, it was just, let me see what kind of party I can put together very quickly, and then maybe try and push tanky items before my grind, and then just blitz the moon and then call it a day, since I didn't have the pass yet either.
And
Makes
so that's what
sense.
led you to peaking dwarf and taking the top of tower, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. I saw Ogopogo. I figured that was going to be a mega slow fight. I'd rather not deal with that, so I would just run the top of tower. Found the Earth Crystal up there. On the top of tower? Yeah, it was the top of tower. I found Earth Crystal, and then Super Cannon had
White shirt.
white shirt, right? So at that point, I just said, all right, I could just go do Earth, do my grind, finish the moon, and then just finish the seed.
Well, it turns out either path worked because Dwarf had packaged.
Yeah. Hello. That's a good time.
Glad you had fun. How have you been enjoying the tournament so far? I know you've been in a lot of different tournaments throughout your time, so how's this one been working out so far?
I like the seed set. I mean, it's always a pleasure, but this seed set really pushes your small adjustments a lot. So, as you see, a 136 isn't an awful time, but well, we know we're gonna address the elephant in the room right now. Why is exit right there, and why did I fat finger my button? But
One below blink.
just happened to be there that one time, I swear. But
Was it Rosa or Porum who passed exit?
it was Rosa, because Porum. Yep.
Yeah.
It was just mega unfortunate. So I would have to go back and check, but I was about halfway through with my grind at that point, so that cost me like 5 to 6 minutes,
Mhm.
and then the math adds up to like how much time I would lost. I don't think I would have won if I had just managed to finish Dwarf and not messed up my grind, but it would have been closer than it was had I not done that. I think I would have been under 130. I certainly would have been under 130.
Yeah, for sure.
So it just an unfortunate um an unfortunate accident. So I mean, what can you do? Still had a ton of fun. It's always fun to play Final Fantasy IV.
Well, having fun's the most important thing.
But,
Looking at your group, are there any potential future matches in these Swiss stages that you're looking forward to or kind of hoping to roll into?
always looking for the fresh new players. It's good to see that we're still pulling a sizable tournament, all things considered, when you think about how long we've been at it. But bring all comers. Rhybon saved his neck tonight, but the next person might not be so lucky.
I know you were definitely one of my first couple tournament matches, and it was a lot of fun. Always fun to see some newer folks race some of the longer standing community members.
You can call me old, it's fine.
Age is relative.
Mhm. No, I'll take your word for it. Tell that to my poor back and my knees.
All right. Well, any
Have
final
any
thoughts on the seed or the tournament?
Um, Free Enterprise is still a lot of fun. Everyone watching should be playing. Join the tournaments; they're a lot of fun. And if you haven't done it, sign up for restreaming. Restreaming is a grand old time, and it's easy. Even an old man like me can do it.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much, and GG again. You're going to be right there in the mix at 1-1 in the D Machine group, and it'll be great to see who you get paired up with next week.
Yep. Just a quick note, thanks for the restreamers, the commentary, and the trackers, and thanks for the organizers for the tournament.
you have a good night.
Have a good night.
Well, I guess that just about does it for tonight's race. We do have another race going on tonight, starting in just about like 5 to 10 minutes, I believe. It's not going to be restreamed, but you can catch it out on the individual runner streams. It's going to be between X Pancraz and Radio Caller. Uh, should be an interesting one, and one that is relevant to both Joe and I's group. So I know I'll be watching.
I might need to go to sleep, but if not, maybe I'll go to sleep watching it. We do also have a tomorrow we also have more free enterprise, which got in league matches. We've got a couple more streams tomorrow. We'll be starting off at 4 p.m. Eastern. Back at Free Enterprise, we'll have Cubs Rule versus Lord Goober. Should be a fun race, nice midday watch. And then tomorrow night on Free Enterprise 2, we'll have Paul Grant versus Invenerable. That be a real fun one as well to look out for.
Another great lineup of matches. Looking forward to it.
In between those restreamed, there should be a couple other matches that you can catch via Cadger spoiler or with a spoiler, Fred. So lots of fun tomorrow.
Yeah, if you can't get enough of this, feel free to hop on in the Discord. We've got a a channel with usually there's a thread for every single match, even if it's not being restreamed, and you can, watch it and chat with us as they play.
Really a lot of fun. But with that, that should be it for us tonight. I hope everyone enjoyed watching. Follow the runners. They're great racers, and I hope everyone has a good night.
Yep. Good night, everyone.